Today, we're diving into James Clear's game-changing book, Atomic Habits. We're going to unpack a really simple but powerful idea that the tiniest, almost unnoticeable things you do every day can actually add up to completely transform your life. So how does that even work? Let's get into it.
But to really understand the power of these small habits, we have to start where the author himself started. His whole journey kicked off with this single, catastrophic event that basically forced him to rebuild his entire life from scratch.
So, picture this. It's the last day of his sophomore year in high school. A classmate takes a full swing with a baseball bat. The bat slips out of his hands, and it flies right into James Clear's face.
The impact was, absolutely devastating. It sent the soft tissue of his brain slamming into the inside of his skull. He had to be airlifted to a hospital, he had multiple seizures, and he was even placed in a medically induced coma. His recovery was just this long, brutal process, months and months of rehab just to practice basic things like walking in a straight line.
You'd think his comeback would start with some big, heroic moment, right? But it didn't. It actually started in his college dorm room. While everyone else was staying up late and partying, he just focused on building good sleep habits. He made sure his room was always neat and tidy. I know, they sound like such minor things, but they gave him a sense of control. And that, slowly, bit by bit, rebuilt his confidence. This was really his first taste of the power of small, consistent actions. And that experience leads us right to the core idea of the whole book, the incredible, compounding power of just getting 1% better every single day. He calls it the compound interest of self-improvement.
Okay, so what's with this number? Well, this is how much better you will be 1 year from now if you just improve by 1% each day. Almost 38 times better. It's a wild number, and it really shows you the hidden potential that's packed inside our tiny daily choices. And here's the scary part. It works both ways. We see that incredible growth from getting 1% better, but look at the path on the right. Getting just 1% worse every day doesn't just stall your progress, it completely wipes it out until you're left with basically nothing. It just goes to show you that small habits are a double-edged sword. They're either building you up or they're tearing you down.
Now, if you think this is all just theory, check out this amazing real-world example. For 100 years, the British cycling team they were pretty mediocre. But then they adopted this philosophy called the aggregation of marginal gains. They just looked for a 1% improvement in everything. And I mean everything. Not just the obvious stuff like bike seats, but tiny, overlooked details. They hired a surgeon to teach the athletes how to wash their hands properly to avoid getting sick. They even painted their team truck white so they could spot little bits of dust that might mess with the bikes. And the result? They became one of the most dominant forces in the history of the sport. Okay, this next idea is a huge mindset shift. The book argues that we should pretty much forget about goals and focus on our systems instead. It's like the legendary coach Bill Walsh said, the score takes care of itself.
So what's the difference? A goal is the result you want, right? Like winning a championship. A system is the process that gets you there. It's what your team does at practice every single day. A goal is to write a book. A system is your daily writing schedule. See, goals are great for setting a direction, but it's the systems that actually get you there.
And think about this for a second. Every single Olympian wants to win the gold medal. Every person applying for a job wants to get it. Successful people and unsuccessful people, they often have the exact same goals. So the goal itself can't be what makes the difference. Besides, focusing only on goals can be a trap. It's like you're telling yourself you can't be happy until you hit that milestone. And then what happens after you achieve it? Your motivation just disappears. The real difference maker is having a system of continuous, small improvements.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway. Your goals set the target, sure, but it's your systems that determine if you'll ever actually hit it. On any given day, you're not going to magically rise to the level of your ambition. You're going to fall to the level of your habits. It's your system that decides everything. All right, now we get to what I think is the deepest and most powerful idea in the whole book. The best way to change your habits isn't to change what you do, it's to change who you believe you are. This is all about identity-based habits. So Clear breaks down behavior change into 3 layers. Most of us, we try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome we want, like I want to lose weight, but real, lasting change, that happens from the inside out. It has to start with your identity, with what you believe about yourself. This example says it all. When someone offers you a cigarette and you say, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit," you're still identifying as a smoker who's struggling. You're framing it as a sacrifice. But if you say, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker," well, that signals a complete shift in your identity. The behavior isn't a battle against yourself anymore, it's just a reflection of who you are.
So how do you build a new identity? You prove it to yourself with small wins. Every time you go to the gym, you're casting a vote for, "I'm an athlete." Every time you sit down and write one page, you're casting a vote for, "I'm a writer." These little habits are the evidence that builds up your belief in your new identity.
Okay, so let's make this really practical. Because knowing all this stuff is great, but the real change happens when we actually put it into practice. So how do you start building that very first habit? The trick is to go from a fuzzy desire to a super concrete plan.
This is something called an implementation intention. And what research has found is that most of us don't actually lack motivation, we lack clarity. It's really easy to say, "I'm going to eat healthier," but that's just a wish, it's not a plan. Your brain has no idea what to do with that. This little tool gives your habit a time and a place to exist in the real world, which makes it so much more real.
And here's the formula. It's so simple but is incredibly powerful. It just removes all the guesswork. So I'll read more becomes I will read one page at 10 p.m. in my bedroom. I'll meditate more becomes I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. on my living room couch. You see the difference? It's specific, it's actionable, and it's a whole lot harder to put off.
And this brings us all the way back to the most important question of all. Because, look, building better habits, it's not really about getting a six-pack or earning a promotion. It's about consciously deciding who you are, and then building that identity. Every tiny, planned action is a building block. So the real first step isn't just deciding what you want to do. It's deciding who you want to become. That's the real starting line.
If this summary gave you the spark you needed to start your next big change, make sure to hit that like button. For more visual breakdowns of the world's most powerful books, subscribe to Lead with Spark and turn on notifications. We're here to help you master the best ideas in minutes, so you can spend more time taking action. What book should we deconstruct next? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and keep leading with a spark.